It's time to remix Buy You a Drink with Buy You a Switch, because that thing won't stop selling. And maybe it's going to start selling for more based on Nintendo's new comments. Price raises are encroaching everywhere. As we bring you the latest Nintendo Switch news. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Great to see all of your faces. Yes, I have a special camera where I can see you too. Today, Nintendo revealed their financial results and their sales figures, and goodness gracious, these games don't stop. Remember a couple days ago when I said people were talking about the doom of Switch? The demise was coming. It was showing cracks in the armor. Tell that to 5.27 million copies of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, making it the best-selling Kirby of all time. Tell that to officially 40+ million copies of Animal Crossing New Horizons, making it the best-selling video game in Japan ever. It passed Pokemon Red, Blue, Green, and it is officially the best seller of all time. Tell that to 48 million copies of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a game that keeps on cruising down the highway. And tell that to 7.9 million copies of Splatoon 3 already. Nearly 8 million copies of Splat 3 are spreading ink across the globe, and that doesn't even put it on the Switch's top 10 bestsellers. Think about that. 8 million copies in a month, and it don't even chart it. Insane, incredible, and the Switch itself has reached 114 million units. Now that approaches Game Boy, which is at 118 million units, so we are 4 million units away from this thing being the second best-selling Nintendo system of all time. Pretty impressive. It's got a ways to go before it reaches DS standards, but never say never with the Switch, especially if they find a way to sort of combine Switch, Switch Pro, and don't really go to the next gen, but just sort of take those half steps. Either way, Nintendo keeps stepping in the right direction. Sales are doing really, really good. Games are selling really, really strong, and this thing ain't stopping anytime soon because, oh, by the way, one of the biggest sellers of all time is about to release next week. That is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, let me know what you think of those sales numbers. I think it's impressive. I'm glad to see Kirby is the best-selling Kirby. We know Metroid became the best-selling Metroid. It's just great that the games on Switch take these franchises to new heights. Like, these characters are old. They're geriatric at this point, and they've been waiting for their moment to shine. They're all getting it, and nobody is going anywhere anytime soon. They're getting injections of lifeblood thanks to Joy-Con magic. And hopefully the same happens for Pokemon, which revealed a brand new trailer today. They're keeping that game under wraps, okay? They think it's still Halloween, mummies are a thing, and they do not want us to see the evolutions. Well, there were some leaks, but Nintendo shut all of them down. I told you they were gonna be really ninja-like this season, and they are. But in this new trailer, we did get our first glimpse of the Paradox Pokemon we've heard so much about. This idea that there are future forms and past forms that kind of take a Pokemon we know, split them in two, and give us a look at wave before and way after. Now, the most interesting thing here is the naming conventions have changed. You know, Pokemon have just like the best names: Eevee, Squirtle, Weedle, Pikachu. Not for the Paradox. Apparently, way in the past and way in the future, creativity, not a thing. Everybody just refers to Pokemon by straight up nouns. Great Tusk is Donphan in the past, and Iron Treads is Donphan in the future. Yeah, that's apparently going to be their Pokedex entry. Great Tusk and Iron Treads. Very, very interesting names, and I can't wait to see what other nouns they use to describe Pokemon in the past and in the future. Apparently there's a Scarlet book and a Violet book in the game lore, and that is where you learn about these past, primal, and future electronic forms. It does look really cool, and the game is now like a week away. So we are going to be playing it soon. Cannot wait to bring you tons of coverage on that, and hopefully you guys are as excited as I am to see the future of Pokemon. And if this one really does set a new standard for Switch, I think with the noun usage alone and Gimmighoul and some of the leaks I've seen, we're in a really good place. All right, time for the bad news. Y'all love this part of the show. It's the one that, it gets a lot of attention because sometimes stuff that ain't good is just really, really intriguing. And we want to know what Nintendo is going to do about the worldwide situation that is plaguing Microsoft and Sony. All right, Sony's already raised the price of the PlayStation 5 in many global regions. They haven't done it yet in the US, but it sounds like that could come. Now, Microsoft said, no price raise. But then Phil Spencer, about a week ago, said, next year, I'm probably going to raise the price. They're probably going to boost the Xbox Series X up to $550. And the Switch looks great at $300, right? Well, maybe not for too long. Nintendo was asked today during their financial briefing whether they would raise Switch prices given all the global shortages and the issues and extra dollars that need to be spent. and they said that right now, no price raise, but they will continue monitoring the situation and carefully consider whether we need to take the option. That sounds like they are definitely pumping the brakes and prepping their investors that, gonna have to raise the price. It's kind of similar language to what Phil Spencer used about like, hey, not this holiday, don't worry, but next year, we're gonna have to take a close look. Now, Nintendo is in a very unique space, all right? Microsoft and Sony are kind of hamstrung, right? They are literally hamstrung. They just made new systems. They're very expensive to make. They're selling out, so they can raise the price, and they can't really put out a new system. They're at a place where like this system is gonna cost more, there's demand, buyers are just gonna have to suck it up. So maybe they're not hamstrung, maybe they're more like money strung, and they're actually gonna rake in quite a bit more cash with a price increase. But Nintendo, our friends over there, Furukawa, the captain of all teams, he has an interesting option. Now, Nintendo could raise the price of the Switch. It probably would still sell. You know, you got the OLED up there at $350, $360 with those exclusive models, and you could bump the Switch and still do pretty well. The system sells incredibly well to this day, despite what people were trying to rumor monger last week. No, it sells great. But Nintendo could do something different. They could, in effect, create a price increase by putting out a new SKU, by putting out a new system, and perhaps the timing is lining up perfectly. Perhaps Nintendo is going to drop a Switch Pro in 2023, and that will be the price increase. So they kind of mask the price increase within the price of the new console. They budget into what they're gonna charge for a Switch Pro. So let's say they were planning on charging $350 for the Switch Pro, moving the OLED down to $300, moving the Switch down to $250, I don't know, something like that. Well, now they charge $400 for the Switch Pro. You don't really know the difference. It's a price hike, but you're getting a better system. Or maybe it goes even higher. If they know that both Sony and Microsoft are raising to $550, they say, hey, the Switch Pro is $430. And it feels like a savings because it's so much cheaper. It can do handheld and home. It's got much better graphics, 4K finally for Nintendo. But they actually increased the price of the Switch by $130. You see, they have a really good option, and I hope they take advantage. Because to me, a price hike that's baked into a new console, it really lessens the sting. We're talking about going from bee to mosquito, and I think that is a lot more palatable to almost all of the population. Nobody wants to spend more money, but we're in a situation where if we want these companies to continue to deliver the products they deliver, continue to make the games they make, and continue to improve and expand them, they're gonna have to fork it over. With inflation and increasing costs and just global shortages, it's just the way it has to go. And frankly, I don't want to see game developers and publishers super tight. I don't want to see them have to be super frugal and be like, well, we got to cut off Mario's right arm because, we can't afford to render it in. If you have seen the new movie, Banshees of Inisherin, you know what it's about when somebody says, hey, I have to cut off my fingers because I just can't afford to put up with you. And if they can't afford to put up with us, we don't want Mario to lose his limbs. Anyways, that's a very specific inside joke for people that have seen that movie. Anyways, the point is, I think Nintendo can get away with this sort of unscathed. I think they can use a new Switch iteration to mask their price hike and make themselves look like, we didn't raise the price. Sony, up with the PS5. Microsoft, up with the Xbox. The Switch, it's still $300. If you want the old one that doesn't have the cool stuff and look as great and play Tears of the Kingdom in 4K, because everybody wants to play Tears of the Kingdom in 4K, myself included, baby. Let me know what you think about Nintendo. You know they're ready to soften the blow. You know, saying like, we're not right now, but we will consider monitoring the situation and considering carefully. You know something's going to happen in 2023. But let me know if you would feel okay with them sort of baking the price hike into the new system. It's going to be expensive no matter what, more expensive no matter what. So, hey, if this is the way to do it, I think it's my preferred option. Also, let me know what you think about Great Tusk and Iron Tread, strangest named Pokemon in the entire collection. I cannot wait for those games. I cannot wait for those games. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, my wonderful friends, love you and appreciate you a lot. SwitchForce, out.